While passing through this. Welcome, guys. Welcome again to my channel. This is Trev from Trevessence. Welcome to everybody who has come into the live, who is coming into the live this morning. I sincerely appreciate y'all. Now, um, for those of you who are concerned as to why I wrote Job chapters 37 through 39 this morning, it was not an accident, it was intentional. Now, yesterday we read Job chapters 37 and 38. But if you all were here yesterday, you all will know that there was a lot of interruption in that reading, and I wasn't so pleased with all those interruptions coming in and disturbing us while we were reading. And to that end, I've decided that this morning we are going to read chapters 37, 38, and we're going to add 39 to the mix this morning. I'm not sure what time my grandbabies are going to get up. So I got and start the disturbance. So I've tried to get as far away from them as I possibly can. But I mean, there's no guarantee they're going to be up in a minute. Right. So this morning we are going to be rereading chapters 37 and 38, particularly because these two chapters are very important in the reading and the understanding of the book of Job. Because we saw we're in these two chapters now that Job has suffered throughout all the chapters of the book. Now we see in chapter 37 God is actually speaking according to the Bible. At this point, God himself is actually speaking to Job. He's actually saying to Job, why are you worried? Why are you concerned? Why are you questioning me? Why are you questioning me? Why are you questioning my ability to watch over you, to preserve your life? Do you know how you were formed in your mother's womb? Have you had any clue? Do you have any clue as to how you came about in your mother's womb? Do you know who causes the ocean to stop where it does? Have you any idea? Do you know how the clouds are formed? Do you know how they cover the sun sometimes so you don't get too much sunshine? Do you know where the moon goes at night or during the daytime and comes back at? Do you know these things? Do you know who control these things? Since you don't know who control these things, how they happen, why they happen, and who caused them to happen, relax, chill out, accept your blessings, and let's move forward. And these are very powerful statements. The Bible says these were the words of God. These are very powerful statements because we see these statements being used even now, even today. You know, if you are sick or you're going through a depressive moment, when you're being encouraged to snap out of it, step out of it, have hope that it will not last forever, that this too shall pass, and you shall be triumphant. Whenever you are being encouraged in that fashion, the story of Job is usually used as the primary motivator for people who are depressed and downtrodden, to say, look towards your tomorrow, because tomorrow will be better than your today. And even if the story was made up, the message behind it is very, very relevant. And you don't have to believe in God, or you'll say, oh, I'm not, even if you're an atheist, it doesn't matter. The message is very, very relevant throughout all generations. Because after all, as humans, Winsome, what's up? As humans, we don't know how the stars come out at night. We don't know who caused the sun to shine, who caused the sun to move. They say the sun move around the earth. The Bible talks about the sun moving around the earth. Man comes and says it's not the sun that moves, it's the earth that moves. So with that, we are saying, well, nobody knows how they move, what force causes them to move. Causes it to be 7 o'clock in the morning here in Miami, and it is probably 7 p.m. in places like the Philippines and other places. So we don't know who caused the rain, the power that causes it to rain, the power that causes volcanoes and tornadoes. We have no control over those things. We don't control the power that causes the ocean to stop at the shore and not continue flowing and flood off the world. We don't control those powers, but we accept them gracefully, because whatever power it is that has created them and continues to control them is indeed for our benefit. And so we are going to be rereading Job chapters 37, 38, and we're going to add 39 to the mix this morning so that we can get a better understanding of what God said to Job in Job's greatest time of need. All right? Let us begin. And for those of you who are just coming into my channel, let me just say this again. We do not endorse any particular religion or any particular denomination over here. What we do is we're trying to read the Bible for ourselves so that we can have our own understanding of it, and we can be sure of what we have read that is in the Bible, because we know that we have been told oftentimes of literature that's in the Bible that, as we have read, is not so. And not only are some of it not so, but some of it has been distorted some. So it's always good to read something for yourself rather than sit there and be told by other individuals what is in the book, rather than and not read it for yourself. Okay, it's always better to read it for yourself so you have first-hand awareness of what was being said, who said it, to whom it was being said, and what were the circumstances under which it was being said. So you have an appropriate context. All right, let us begin. Follow me with your book Bible or your Google Bible, and let us start reading the book of Job, chapter 37. At this also my heart trembled, and is moved out of his place. Hear attentively the noise of his voice, and the sound that goeth out of his mouth. He directs it under the whole heaven, and his lightning unto the ends of the earth. After it a voice roareth, he thundereth with the voice of his excellency, and he will not stay them with his voice as heard. After it a voice roareth, he thundereth with the voice of his excellency, and he will not stay them when his voice is heard. God thunders marvelously with his voice. Great things doeth he, which we cannot comprehend. For he saith to the snow, Be thou on the earth, likewise to the small rain, and to the great rain of his strength. He seals up the hand of every man, that all men may know his work. Then the beasts go into dens and remain in their places. Out of the south comes the whirlwind, and cold out of the north. By the breath of God, frost is given, and the breath of the waters is straightened. Also, by watering, he weareth the thick cloud, he scatters his bright cloud. And it is turned around about by his counsels, that they may do whatsoever he commandeth them upon the face of the world in the earth. He causes it to come, whether for correction, or for his land, or for mercy. Hearken unto this, O Job. Stand still and consider the wondrous works of God. Sister M&G is in the place. Blessings, my sister. How are you doing? So good to see you. Happy Sabbath to you, my dear. Thank you so much for coming. Those of you who are just coming in, we are reading the book of Job, and we are rereading chapters 37 and 38. And this morning we are going to also include chapter 39 in the reading. I know we read it yesterday, but with all the interruptions yesterday, I'm sure you all were as disappointed as I was that we didn't get the full comprehension of it. And so I've decided to reread it. All right. Verse 15 of chapter 37. Dost thou know when God disposed them and caused the light of his cloud to shine? Dost thou know the balancings of the clouds, the wondrous works of him which is perfect in knowledge? How thy garments are warm, even he quieted the earth by the south wind. Hast thou with him spread out the sky, which is strong, and as a molten looking glass? Teach us what we shall say unto him, for we cannot order our speech by reason of darkness. Shall it be told him that I speak? If a man speak, surely he shall be swallowed up. And now men see not the bright light which is in the clouds, but the wind passeth and cleanseth them. Fair weather cometh out of the north, with God is terrible majesty. Touching the Almighty, we cannot find him out. He is excellent in power and in judgment and in plenty of justice. He will not afflict. You are welcome, Sister M&G. Or you're getting ready for work. You have yourself a great day, my dear sister. And be safe out there on those streets, my love. All right, verse 23 of chapter 37. Touching the Almighty, we cannot find him out. He is excellent in power and in judgment and in plenty of justice. He will not afflict. Verse 24 and last. Men do therefore fear him. He respects not any that are wise of heart. This is the end of chapter 37 in the book of Job. And in this chapter, we see where it is being brought to us humans that we cannot understand the power of God. It says God understands that we don't understand. And therefore he does not afflict us. This right here is to me a little, I'm not sure if you all in the chat want to say something about it. You may say it in the chat, but it says here that God does not afflict. I am not sure if this is true or not. But when it says God does not afflict, That means that he does not cause you to get sick. He is not responsible for you getting sick or hurt, because he does not afflict. And that makes me ask the question: God does not afflict, but he allows the affliction to prevail. And I ask why. Just like Job. Job is an ordinary man and was an ordinary man according to the scriptures. So if I'm supposed to also believe the scriptures, it says that your afflictions are not from God, but God has all these powers to shine the star, let the rain fall, let it stop, the lightning, the thunder, and all these things. My question would be then, why would he allow affliction to come upon the very people who depend on him not to be afflicted? Do I make sense, guys? I hope I do, because to me, I make a lot of sense. I know a lot of people get scared about asking questions pertaining to God and the Bible, and I don't think it's something for you to be afraid to ask. None of us as man know the answers, trust me. But still, in our human capacity, it is not wrong for us to ask questions, for us to be able to conceive these thoughts as to why would he allow these afflictions, knowing that he has the power to cause them not to occur and the power to heal them. Is it that he wants us to be, he allows us to be afflicted so that we can cry to him and beg him for help, and then he says, if I see it fit that you be healed, I will heal you. But if I don't see it fit for you to be healed, then I will not cause you to be healed. I will leave you in your affliction. No matter how much you cry to me, no matter how much you beg me, I'm going to leave you in that affliction. That's a big can of worms right there. They're wiggling everywhere in my brain right now. And there are some things that I really want to say that I'm going to reserve for my own thoughts, because I am not here to stir up any form of controversy. I am here to read and have us listen to the reading so we know what is in the Bible. But the thoughts that comes to mind after reading something like this, they are many. Okay, so you have your own thoughts. I have mine. If you want to share yours in the chat, you are more than welcomed to do so. But imagine, say, your mom. Your mom has the ability to keep you safe, to care for you. Yet still, your mom doesn't lock the front door. She leaves the front door open, knowing that you live in a neighborhood where once the I wanted to say the vagrants around see an open door, they're going to take advantage of it and go right in. But your mom leaves you in this house by yourself with no form of protection and leaves the door open, and these criminals come in through the open door and they are hurting you, and you are yelling and screaming for your mom to come and help you, to come and help you, to come and help you. You're screaming. And even though your mom could stop them, could come in and stop them, she allows them to continue to hurt you while you continue to scream, because she maybe gets some pleasure from you screaming and begging her for help. Think about it. Think about it. Because I am thinking about a lot of things here. We remember in the earlier chapters, God and Satan had that conversation, and God said he was allowing Satan to destroy Job, but he was begging Satan. He was sort of making a deal with Satan. Just do not take Job's life. Do whatever you want to him. Just don't take his life. And we've seen in the subsequent chapters how Job has been suffering. He has been questioning his faith. He has been calling on God. He has been doing everything, but yet his affliction remained. So much so that all his friends and everybody around him, he's sort of isolated because nobody wants to come beside him with all these sores that he has all over his body. Nobody wants to sit with him, want to eat with him. Nobody wants to come around him, and so he's living basically an isolated an isolated existence. When his friends come to see him, they stand afar off. They talk to him from afar off. They express their sorrow at what he's going through, and they question why he continues to see himself as a faithful servant. Like, what is all this faithfulness doing for you? It's not doing anything for you, Job. You look how you are afflicted. You say that your God who you serve is able to cause this affliction to cease, but yet it is not ceasing. You are continuing to suffer. They are concerned naturally. And now in chapter 37, we are seeing where God, what's up? And now in chapter 37, we see where it's presented to us. God is able to heal Job. He didn't cause the affliction. He's able to heal him, but he's not healing him for whatever reason. Welcome into the live chat, Cad. Welcome into the live chat, Winston, the amazing M&G, and everybody else who is in the chat. I know we always have some silent listeners in the background, listening but not saying anything. Well, I sincerely appreciate you all as well. And if you are not saying anything and you are learning something, I am all for that. But I just hope that one day you'll come out of the bushes and say something. And if you have read a literature somewhere, that will give us additional clarity about what we're reading. We sincerely appreciate it. We appreciate everybody's input. So we are here for it as we continue to read the Bible. Remember, we are on a quest to read the Bible from the beginning to the end. We want to know what is in the Bible for ourselves. And it makes sense that we read it this way so that we get context. We get context for the scriptures, because oftentimes we only read a verse here, a verse there. And when you read just a verse here and a verse there, you don't get the full context of what was being said, who said it, to whom it was being said, and why it was being said. And so that oftentimes caused people to run away with one verse and say the verse means one thing, when really that's not what it meant, because that's not what it was referencing when it was originally spoken. So come along with us. Get your book Bible or your Google Bible, and let us continue the reading of this Bible. I'm reading from the King James Version of the Bible. I know there are, with different translations and different versions of the Bible, the context might be a little different, but in essence, most of it is the same. So let us continue. Welcome into the live, everybody. Happy Sabbath to you all. We are on to chapter 38 of the book of Job. And here it is where it gets rather interesting, because it says, then the Lord So now the Lord is speaking. Then the Lord answered Job out of the whirlwind. Now, remember earlier in the chapter, it said that the whirlwinds come from the south and the cold wind come from the north. That's not something that modern man has discovered. Modern man like to take credit for stuff and act like they discover it. They ain't discover nothing. It's possibly that they have read the Bible and seen where the Bible said it, and then they use it and run with it because they know that many of us don't read the Bible for ourselves. Let us continue. Then the Lord answered Job out of the whirlwind and said, who is this that darkeneth counsel by words without knowledge? Gird up now thy loins like a man, for I will demand of thee, and answer thou me. Where wast thou when I laid the foundations of the earth? All right, here comes God now chastising Job. Chastising Job. Telling Job, well, you don't listen to them man who telling you that God is that you should, I don't want to say curse. That's why I'm public there. I really don't want to say that word. He's saying, don't listen to these people who are telling you that your reverence is not worthy. Don't listen to them, because where were you? He says, where were you when the foundations for the earth was laid? Were you there? Declare if thou hast understanding. So open up your mouth. Tell me if you know how the foundations of the earth were laid. Where were you? And this is a powerful question coming from God to an ordinary man. It's like, my majesty and my power you will never understand. Let us continue. Verse 5 says, who hath laid the measures thereof? Do you know? Or who hath stretched the line upon it? Do you know? Whereupon are the foundations thereof fastened? Or who laid the cornerstone thereof? When the morning stars sang together, and all the sons of God shouted for joy? Or who shut up the sea with doors when it brake forth, as if it had issued out of the womb? When I made the cloud the garment thereof, and the thick darkness a swaddling band for it, and break up for it my decreed place, and set bars and doors, and said, hitherto shalt thou come, but no further, and here shall thy proud waves be stayed. Hast thou commanded the morning since thy days, and caused the day spring to know his place, that it might take hold of the ends of the earth, that the wicked might be shaken out of it? It is turned as clay to the seal, and thy stand as a garment. And from the wicked their light is withholden, and the high arm shall be broken. Hast thou entered into the springs of the sea, or hast thou walked in the search of the depth? Have the gates of death been opened unto thee, or hast thou seen the doors of the shadow of death? Hast thou perceived the breadth of the earth? Declare if thou knowest at all. So here God is saying to Job, talk to me. Tell me, do you know how the clouds are formed? Is there any man around you who knows? Do you know how it rains? Do you know how the foundations of the earth, how the earth is formed? Do you know how the earth, the ends of the earth? Do you know anything about that? If you or any Any man. And I think when he's talking about any man, he's probably talking about Job's friends, because Job's friends were the ones who were there talking to him in the previous chapters. So he's saying, do you know, if you know, or if any man that you know knows how the earth was formed, or the wind and the stars and the ocean were formed, if you know, tell me. Verse 17 says, have the gates of death been opened unto thee? Or hast thou seen the doors of the shadow of death? Hast thou perceived the breadth of the earth? Declare if thou knowest at all. Where is the way which light dwelleth? And as for darkness, where is the place thereof? That thou shouldest take it to the bound thereof, and that thou shouldest know the path to the house thereof. Knowest thou this, because thou wast then born, or because the number of thy days is great? Hast thou entered into the treasures of the snow, or hast thou seen the treasures of the hail, which I have reserved against the time of trouble, against the day of battle and war? By what way is the light parted, which scatters the east wind upon the earth? Who hath divided a watercourse for the overflow of waters, or a way for the lightning of thunder, to cause it to rain on the earth, where no man is, on the wilderness, wherein there is no man, to satisfy the desolate and waste ground, and to cause the bud of the tender herb to spring forth? So here God is really chastising Job. This is some real chastisement right here. You know, do you know how hail is formed and falls? Do you know how the rain is formed and how the rain falls? Do you even know how darkness comes about? Do you know how the daylight comes about? These are some very valid questions. And these are questions that no man has ever answered. God says to Job, do you know because of all your years, because Job is by now an old man? Do you know of it by reason of your age? Or do you know of it by reason of you being told by your foreparents or your friends or somebody? Do you know? There is no formula that is written for how to create darkness. There's no formula that is written for how to create sunlight, how to cause lightning or thunder. Man has absolutely no control over it. Joe is here. Joe says, happy Sabbath morning, Trev, and each and everyone in chat. Bless up a nice clean self, Joe. How are you doing this Sabbath morning? Are you that Tisha? Tisha, what's up? Tisha, how are you doing, my love? Happy Sabbath morning to you, my darling. So good to see you. Welcome. We are currently reading the book of Job, chapter 38 we are on, and verse 28. Hath the rain a father, or who hath begotten the drops of dew? Out of whose womb came the ice, and the hoary frost of heaven? Who hath gendered it? The waters are hid as with a stone, and the face of the deep is frozen. Canst thou bind the sweet influences of Pleiades, or loose the bands of Orion? And those we are talking about, Pleiades and Orion, or bands of stars, is talking about here. Canst thou bring forth Mazzaroth in his season? Or canst thou guide Arcturus with his sons. Hold on, where's my phone? I said I was going to look for this name here. Mazzaroth, Mazzaroth. Mazzaroth. Okay. So according to Google, Mazzaroth is also a constellation of stars. And as I'm going to say, Arcturus is also Arcturus. Okay, and Arcturus is the brightest star in the northern constellation. Oh, Arcturus is the brightest star. Arcturus is the brightest star in the northern constellation. It's also called Alpha Bootis, one of the 5 brightest stars in the night sky, and the brightest star in the northern constellation. Ooh, okay. So that's what the Bible is talking about. And if these stars are already being spoken about in the Bible, then man didn't discover them. If the Bible is already talking about them. But anywho, let us continue. God said, but at this point, what is he going to do? Why turn his back on God now? Well, it doesn't say he has turned his back on God now. But if I get what you're saying, at this point, it wouldn't make any sense that he turned his back. His questions were indeed valid, but what is he going to do? Is like, I'm just a man. I can only sit here and hope that God heals me. There's nothing I can do. But here God is presenting to him his frailties as a man, saying, you are a man, you can do only manly things. You don't know about the stars, the sky, the ocean, the earth. You don't know about those things. You cannot cause them to act one way or the other. You cannot cause them to exist or to cease to exist. You don't have that power as an ordinary man. And do you know who control those things? It's like God is saying to Job, I control all those things. You ain't got no control over none of this. So stay in your lane. And tell your friends to stay in their lanes too. I can afflict you and I can heal you. But the Bible says that God does not afflict. So right there is a little bit shady. And since God had the conversation with the devil, and God gave the devil permission to afflict Job, it is leading us to believe that all our afflictions are of the devil. And that makes me say, then, if all our afflictions are of the devil, but none of us pray to the devil, we pray to God, we ask God for help, why wouldn't he help us? Why wouldn't he stop these afflictions? Are we therefore going to say to ourselves that it's because we have doubts in our minds about whether he exists? Doubt that we are not saying out of our mouths? Or is it that we are just going to see ourselves as Job and say, well, if God allows me to be afflicted, then maybe I deserve it? These are questions, guys, that we might never get answered. God says, all of them are celestial bodies. Yes. I think the whole lesson about Job is exposing man's reality. Even if you are what to God, you got a typo there, God. even if you are something to God. Man's frailty, I meant. Man's frailty, even if you are. Yeah, revise that, sis. Revise that. Let us continue. Verse 28 says, hath the rain a father, or who hath begotten the drops of dew? Out of whose womb came the ice, and the hoary frost of heaven? Who hath gendered it? The waters are hid as with a stone, and the face of the deep is frozen. Canst thou bind the sweet influences of Pleiades, and loose the bands of Orion? Canst thou bring forth Mazzaroth in its season? Or canst thou guide Arcturus with his sons? Knowest thou the ordinances of heaven? Canst thou set the dominion thereof in the earth? Canst thou lift up thy voice to the clouds, that abundance of waters may cover thee? Canst thou send lightnings that they may go, and say unto thee, here we are? Who hath put wisdom in the inward parts, or who hath given understanding to the heart? Who can number the clouds in wisdom, or who can stay the bottles of heaven? It says bottles here, which is bottles. I doubt that's what they wanted to say. Who can stay the bottles of heaven? Not sure. When the dust groweth into hardness, and the clods cleave fast together, wilt thou hunt the prey for the lion, or fill the appetite of the young lions? When they couch in their dens, and abide in the covert to lie in wait, who provided for the raven his food? When his young ones cry unto God, they wander for lack of meat. So here they have gone over a whole list of actions over which man has no control. Man don't go out there go find meat for the lion, which is true. But who made the lion the way he is, so that he can crouch in the bushes and hide and wait for prey so that he may eat? Who teaches the lion that is his way of survival? Who teaches the raven that he can go scratch the earth for worms, that he can go find food to come back and feed his babies? And these are all questions that God is putting forth to Job, as he presents to Job that you are only human. You don't understand these events. No man like you have, neither because they are old or because they are faithful. No man understands the actions of the stars, the clouds, the moon, the sun, the ocean, the birds, the animals. No man understands it, because it was not created for man to understand, because man did not create it. And God says, Psalm 56 verse 8. All right. If God said, look at Psalm 56 verse 8, we're going to look. Psalm 56 and verse 8 says, thou tellest my wanderings. Put thou my tears into thy bottle. Are they not in thy book? Now I'm going to have to read the whole chapter to even get an idea of what that is saying. Psalm 56 says, be merciful unto me, O God, for man would swallow me up. He fighting daily oppresseth me. He fighting daily. Sometimes, guys, the language in the Bible, the English is not Englishing at all. Be merciful unto me, O God, for a man would swallow me up. He fighting daily oppresseth me. Mine enemies would daily swallow me up, for they be many that fight against me. O thou most high, what time I am afraid, I will trust in thee. In God I will praise his word. In God I have put my trust. I will not fear what flesh can do unto me. Every day they wrest my words. All their thoughts are against me for evil. They gather themselves together. They hide themselves. They mark my steps when they wait for my soul. Shall they escape by iniquity? In thine anger cast down the people, O God. Thou tellest my wanderings. Put thou my tears into thy bottle. Are they not in thy book? When I cry unto thee, then shall mine enemies turn back. This I know, for God is for me. In God will I praise his word. In the Lord will I praise his word. In God have I put my trust. I will not be afraid what man can do unto me. Thy vows are upon me, O God. I will render praises unto thee. For thou hast delivered my soul from death. Wilt not thou deliver my feet from falling, that I may walk before God in the light of the living? And in the beginning of this it says, to the chief musician upon Jonathalim, Mishtam of David, when the Philistines took him in Gath. Okay, so here there is this little pre-word there for this chapter. That sort of sent me for a loop, because the book of Psalm, they said, it's another thing. I don't want to, what Kat said, Kat is a little bit beyond me right now. Kat says Job 38 or 37. About why? Because I'm getting these little pieces, and my brain is sort of going through a sieve right now, because I just read the Psalm 58 and 56 and verse 8, and it sort of take me for a loop, because I'm not sure if it's in context with what we are reading in Job right now. It talks about the bottle, and I saw where in Job 38 and verse 37, it says, who can number the clouds in wisdom, or who can stay the bottles of heaven? And that bottle there sort of threw me off the loop, because who can stay the bottles of heaven? I'm not sure what bottles they're talking about. Oh, you say about the bottles. That's what the bottles is supposed to reference? Bottles full of tears? Who gathering bottles of tears? Is it just a metaphor they're talking? Because certainly it's not real bottles filled with tears. So it has to be metaphorically speaking. Thou tellest my wanderings, put thou my tears into thy bottles. Are they not in thy book? So I'm figuring that is just a metaphor for how much tears you have cried. He's saying, have God not numbered your tears? Has he not seen the amount of tears that you have shed? Is it not concerning to him? That's what I think. Is that what is, if that might be what you're thinking, or that might not be. But remember, I am reading it and I'm sharing with you my thoughts. My thoughts could very well not be your thoughts, but I mean, share with us so that together we can have the meeting of the minds. All right, so we are going to continue. We have finished reading the book of Job chapter 38, and now we are going to move forward to Job What time is it? We are going to move forward to Job chapter 30, chapter 39. Chapter 39 is going to be the last chapter we read for today. Tomorrow we will be reading chapters 40 and 41. So come along with me, guys. Job chapter 39. Knowest thou the time when the wild goats of the rock bring forth? Or canst thou mark when the hinds do calve? Canst thou number the months that they fulfill? Or knowest thou the time when they bring forth? Well, we know that over time, as humans, we don't know, we have no control over how the young ones are formed, but we know the time, the amount of months to wait, the number of, let's say amount, the number of months to wait for an animal to be born. We know that because over time people have taken records, and so we know that a baby, a human child is made within 9 months after conception, is adequately made within 9 months, ready to be born. I'm not sure how long like a cow, how long like a cow how long a cow gestates before giving birth. I am not sure how long a cow gestates or other animals. I know animals like hamsters and rats and rabbits. Their gestational periods are very short because they can have a ton of animals in a very short time. Hamsters gestate in 15 to 17 days. Oh, mackerel. Imagine 15 to 17 days, and an hamster can bring aboard a whole litter. Rats gestate in 21 days. Rabbits in a month. Kangaroos, really? Kangaroos gestate in 32 to 39 days? Really? I didn't know that. Squirrels in 44 days. Dogs in 2 months. Cats in 2 months. Goats and sheep in 151 days. Pigs in 115 days. Cows, almost like humans, 280 days. Horses, 336 days. Elephants, 2 years. 634 days it takes an elephant. That's 2 years. Almost. Wow. Ain't that something? Oh. Oh. Interesting. But that's not what. That's why the brain and memory of an elephant is that. I guess. Because if that brain takes 2 years to be made, of course, yes, no wonder it is as it is. Wow. Morning, son. What's up? Oh, you're gone. See you later. All right. Let us continue, guys. We are on, for those of you who are just coming, We are on Job chapter 39. So get your book Bible or your Google Bible and turn to Job chapter 39. Verse 3, they bow themselves, they bring forth their young ones, they cast out their sorrows. Their young ones are in good liking. They grow up with corn, they go forth and return not unto them. Who hath sent out the wild ass free? Or who hath loosed the bands of the wild ass? Whose house I have made the wilderness, and the barren land his dwellings? He scorneth the multitude of the city, neither regardeth he the crying of the driver. The range of the mountains is his pasture, and he searcheth after every green thing. Will the unicorn be willing to serve thee, or abide by thy crib? Canst thou bind the unicorn with his band in the furrow? Or will he harrow the valleys after thee? Wilt thou trust him, because his strength is great, or wilt thou leave thy labor to him? Wilt thou believe him, that he will bring home thy seed, and gather it unto thy barn? Gavest thou the godly wings unto the peacocks, or wings and feathers unto the ostrich? Which leaveth her eggs in the earth, and warms them in dust, and forgets that the foot may crush them, or that the wild beasts may break them. She is hardened against her young ones, as though they were not hers. Her labor is in vain, without fare. Because God hath deprived her of wisdom, neither hath he imparted to her understanding. What time she lifted up herself on high, she scorned the horse and his rider. Hast thou given the horse strength? Hast thou clothed his neck with thunder? Canst thou make him afraid as a grasshopper? The glory of his nostrils is terrible. He poureth in the valley, and rejoiceth in his strength. He goeth on to meet the armed men. He mocketh at fair, and is not affright. Neither turneth he back from the sword. The quiver rattleth against him, the glittering spear and the shield. He swalloweth the ground with fierceness and rage. Neither believeth he that it is the sound of the thunder. He saith among the trumpets, Aha! And he smells the battle afar off, the thunder of the captains and the shouting. Doth the hawk fly by thy wisdom, and stretch her wings towards the south? Doth the eagle mount up at thy command, and make her nest on high? She dwelleth and abideth on the rock, upon the crag of the rock, and the strong place. From thence she seeketh the prey, and her eyes behold afar off. Verse 30, and this is the last verse of chapter 39. Her young ones also suck up blood, and where the slain are, there is she. Wow. Now, this chapter has sort of gone across the planes of creation to show us that we have absolutely no control over it. It references the eagle and how we have no control over the actions of an eagle that soars high, looks down on earth and seeks out its prey, builds its nest far away from where any other animal of prey can get to it or get to its young ones, and it gets the animals, the prey, the food, and brings it to its children, to the baby eagles, and the baby eagles' blood is what they are used to sucking up. And I guess it's from them knowing, being taught like that, being made like that. They don't have conscience. It's not like a bird has a conscience to say this animal is not going to be my prey. So this powerful chapter here is making us understand our human frailty. We are humans. We don't understand these things. We just have to accept them the way they are, because no man created it, no man control it, and no man can stop it. The only thing we can do is, by our reckless actions, eliminate these animals with overkilling. But apart from that, as humans, we have absolutely no control over the things that animals do, their way of life, their survival techniques. We have absolutely no control over it. And here in the book of Job, that is what is being brought home to us. That since we have no control over it, we just have to accept it the way it is. Because we have no choice. And I know that if it was up to man, some of these animals wouldn't exist, because we are such a destructive aspect of creation. We are the most destructive. We talk about, oh, the animals of prey are causing the numbers of preyed upon animals to be dwindled, to be reduced. Well, if you notice, animals that are preyed upon, like little rats and rabbits and those kinds of animals, you notice these animals, when they give birth, they don't give birth to one baby. Notice that they don't have long gestational periods. Yeah. A, a hamster, for example, take an hamster, for example. An hamster can give birth to up to 12 babies or more. And that is within 17 days. So within a month time, hamster can give birth twice. So that could be 24 babies. Imagine in a year, if an hamster starts to have babies and deliberately have babies every 15 days, that means that hamster could have almost 1,000 babies in a year. So nature knows what it's doing. We don't understand why nature does what it does, but if we look at it, everything that happens has its relevance. A rat can give birth to 2 dozen babies in 21 days. So when a rat gives birth to all these babies in 21 days, imagine if there weren't animals of prey like snakes and hawks and other birds of prey that are going to eat the rabbits and the rats and the hamsters and all those other small animals that's running around in the wild. How us as humans would be overtaken by them, because we know how destructive these animals can be. So nature has its way. Nature has created its own balance. Sometimes we keep thinking that we are because we are considered to be of a higher level of intelligence among all the animals, which in fact we are. But because of that doesn't give us the right to be as destructive as we are. And God knows we are so destructive. Despite massive conservation efforts for animals and trees and habitat, us as humans, we still continue our destructive ways. I say it all the time that in the next 100 years, they are going to need some massive environmental restructuring. Because as humans, the way we are carrying on, and the trees that we are cutting down, not planting them back, we are causing the earth to be more susceptible to more natural disasters because of our own action. And here in the Bible is saying that we don't know how these How the stars, the moon, the ocean, the earth, the animals, we don't know how any of this came into existence or how they function, the way they function. All we know is that they are there. That's all we know as humans. But leave it up to us. Leave it up to us. We will destroy just about everything that we see. Just about everything that comes around. We are capable of destroying, which is not good. As humans, we must take stock of how we treat this environment, how we treat this world that we are given to live in, how what kind of a legacy we are going to leave for our children and grandchildren. What kind of environmental legacy are we going to leave for them? Because we can destroy some of the things that we see here, the trees and stuff. We can do that, but we don't have any control over how they are made, how they are made to function, how they are made to benefit us, how they are made to survive in of themselves. We have no control over it, none whatsoever. So even in the Bible, it's telling us that because as humans we have no control over it, there is a higher power that has control over all these things, and it's incomprehensible to the ordinary man. Because we can't stop a lion from going out to lay in wait for a prey and do what he does. You're not going to see a lion flying. You are not going to see a lion going fishing in the water to get food. No. You're going to see a lion do what a lion does. You're going to see a crocodile doing what crocodiles do. You are going to see elephants and rats and snakes doing what nature has created them to do. All of them. Their survival techniques are different, but it is how nature has made them. And you and I, no matter how many books we read or what we study, we will never be able to comprehend. We will never be able to comprehend it. We just have to accept it and take care of it, because whatever it is, it's nature's benefit to them and to us. All right, Andrea is here. Andrea, what's up? How are you doing? Happy Sabbath morning to you, Andrea. Good to see you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for coming. I sincerely appreciate you. I hope you're having a great Saturday morning. Well, as for me, I am up. I am having a great morning. Right now I'm going to go on the street a little bit. Just a little bit. I'm going to go on the street because I got a few things to do, few places to go. Yeah, I got a few places to go, people to see. So I'm going to be out in the streets. All right. Oh, I want to say thanks to everybody who came into the live this morning. I sincerely appreciate you all. Really? I want to say thanks to all of you who came into the live this morning. Those of you who contributed to the chat. Joseph and Winsome, the amazing M&G and Cad and Andrea and Tisha. I know Tisha was here too. And the lovely Jojo and everybody else who came in but didn't say a word. Wow, Andrea said I was yesterday partying. I said, Andrea, we are going to talk about it. We are going to talk about it. But Andrea, 10 stories in one. I want something to post when we're done. We are going to have a good laugh together. You remember the person we sing the song say, you remember the person we sing the song say, every 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 girl want to walk off of me? Well, there is something going on right now that is funny. There's something going on right now that it funny, but it not funny, if you know what I mean. Because the song that he sang, it has come into play right now where they are using that song as the backdrop for what Jamaica Farmers Hut. What's up? I was watching Auntie Donna yesterday. Lord have mercy. Auntie Donna say everybody who get a walk off a gully bop to come forward, come help gully bop. I just found that to be so funny. Jamaica Farmers Hut, how are you doing? Overton, what's going on? What's going on down there in the Clarkstown there? My friend Everton. How you doing? What's going on with you? How is everything going with you, my love? I see you all both in the fields, all both in those fields, and I appreciate you. I appreciate you, Overton. You're doing a great job down there feeding the masses. You're doing a good job down there, my love. And everybody else who is in the chat, I want to say thank you all so much for coming. I don't want to corrupt the morning's reading with other things that I feel like saying right now. I just want to leave everything in its own place. Right. So the reading this morning, you're taking a rough life easy. Why not? Why not? Ain't that what we gotta do? Yeah. We gotta take a rough life easy no matter what. Yeah. I'm here taking a rough life easy as well. Trying to relax and chillax here in me okay, man. Me okay, Overton. Me always I call it Overton. Everton. Yeah, I am great, my love. Me dey here at chillax right now. It is Saturday morning, so may I get myself together and get out on these streets and see what is going on in this Miami here. See what is going on out in these streets. Yeah, yeah. Because me only have a day left here. Yeah, me only have a day left here, so me just like keep myself in order. Okay. So once again, you are so welcome, my love. Tisha say I'm still here. Okay, my love, I appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Yeah, me I get up, me I gotta make breakfast now for them kids coming out, so them soon wake up, and I got to go on the street, and me have to tag along and all them with me unless me get some reprieve one way or the other. But thank you so much, guys, for coming. Thank you so much for sticking by me. Thank you so much for contributing and participating. So another 2 hours then after you return from the street. Let me tell you, me I get myself together now, Andrea, and then me I go carry no along with me, man. Me I carry no along with me on the street. Yeah, me I carry no along with me. There's school shopping going on. Me I go around. Me say me da go over Aventura Mall. Yeah, so me I carry on with me go over Aventura Mall later today when me get ready, get dressed and all these things. Yeah. Me I carry on with me. Cause normally when me come, me just in the house. I know say this is my stomping ground. So me normally just in the house. So me not really carrying around and showing around the place. And there are lots of places around for sure, no, but I know say me kind of have one body still. But me I go over Aventura later. But look, see what's going on over there. Cause me know say most of the people are doing online shopping these days. So I don't know what it looks like in the malls. And since I am not really shopping for any kids, When I had all my kids going to school, I would be going big time shopping because I have to buy khaki uniform. I always send my kids to school in uniform. I khaki pants and a color shirt. Me no know parents are send them pitney at school in a one whole heap of different clothes and something. Not me, not my children. It was only none of my children actually. Uniform. Pitney if you wear uniform go to school. Me put them in a khaki cause me now buy one whole heap of clothes to pitney a tear. Una go to school in a khaki pants and some polo shirt. Maybe red, maybe navy blue, black, something like that, but some polo shirt. But I ain't going to go buy one whole heap of different clothes. Pitney if you wear uniform, go to school. Uniform. Pitney if you wear go to school. And since I don't have all the children in the house where I'm doing a whole lot of shopping anymore, I don't usually go out at this time and I buy a whole heap of book and pencil and stuff like that. Yeah, so that is the deal. Yeah, so yeah, so I'm gonna take you all with me when I go out for real. All right, guys. And that's going to be it from me for this morning. I want to say thanks to everybody who came into the live, who came into the chat, everybody who participated. I want to say thank you all so much. I will see you all sometime later today. So until next time, my friends, this is Trev from Trevessence, where your journey, my journey, and all our journeys matter. Have yourselves a great morning, guys, and see you when I come back.